evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining me tonight is the one and only Bridge. How are you, mate?
Aye. Good evening to you, Ulster. Huge good evening to the guys in the lobby, and massive good evening to all the Rangers fans all over the world listening in to us. Good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
I think we've been joined by Fox as well, but I don't know if you're busy at the minute, Fox.
Hanging about like a bad smell, mate.
Love it.
Just brilliant.
These are all keeping good then, that's alright. What about yourself, Bridge, then? Just the missus giving you any troubles, making you do any tracks?
Well, nothing amazing at the moment, but night's young.
Night's young. As long as she just leaves you alone between 9 and 11.
Well, that's it. She's very good that way, that's for sure. No doubt about that. So, with yourself, everything okay with you?
Yes, everything's good for me, mate. Just the usual. So it is. Nothing strange or startling happening. I think we're just coming to the stage now where we just want to get the football back, don't we, Bridge,
Oh, yes. Well, you know what the saying goes, Sunday can't come quick enough, can it, for us and all the guys in the lobby and everything. Oh, they're just desperate for it. We just really, really need to get football back on. Good football, that is. We need to start playing good football. Or keep playing good football, should I say. And start winning our games properly away from home,
Are you in the
I'm not kidding, also, you get worked up to hell, don't you? You just miss it. And it's only been a week and a couple of days. And it's like we've never seen them. Where's my team? I want to see my team.
But here, but it's strange because it has been a wee bit. I know it's been quiet, but this month is going to be crazy. And when it does, when the fuse is lit here on Sunday, there's no stopping it, Bridge, because it's just game after game and massive games. So many games.
Indeed. I've back to what my old daddy just now. As far as I'm concerned, every single game is a massive game for Rangers. I know that in amongst that lot, there are teams we feel as a support that we should be beating. I always think that, in all honesty, we should be beating virtually every team. But I mean, seriously, after our exploits at Livingston and going to Motherwell and then Aberdeen and sort of losing in the last minutes of games, or not losing, but losing a goal in the last minutes of each game's really, really difficult to sort of get your mind back onto it again and prove to internally prove to yourself that Rangers are the team that we're going to beat. They're going to beat everybody. So let's build it up for that. Let's get that done. Desperate. Please, Rangers, come on and play for us.
I think it's that fear, isn't it? It's not even a fear. It's just, I think the way form in the league hasn't been great. I suppose most of us would have thought we'll sort that out against Livingston match. The Livingston game for us, we were like, we'll do them, we'll do them easy, but it just didn't happen for us, so it didn't. I think we run out of ideas, and I think that's why a lot of the supports. Not that we should be worrying against Hamilton in the norm, obviously, but I think it's still a wee niggly thing in there with us because it's another one of these plastic pitches, and we're so desperate to get that first win away in the league, so under Gerrard, so we can really push on, Bridge.
Absolutely, but I think I've said that as far as I'm concerned. We know that we should be beating Hamilton, no doubt about that, absolutely. But when we just need to add in, they've got a plastic pitch. We shouldn't have, as a club and as a set of players, we shouldn't be worried at all about a plastic pitch, But for some reason or other, as a club and as a support and as a team probably, with a squad, we've got this thing about playing professional football on a plastic pitch. Maybe it's embedded into our mind as a team, and we don't seem to play. It maybe takes us a wee while to get used to it, and so on and so forth. I dare say if we go out on Sunday and get a goal quite early, then that could settle us right down and let everybody get on with the job, Hopefully that's what happens anyway,
Yeah, well, this is what we're hoping for. I think if we can do that, if we can get that, over this barrier, and I know it shouldn't be a big barrier, but maybe as you say, it's in the mind. It's trying to get that first win away. It's it's another process that the team maybe do have in their heads, another plastic pitch. They don't want to get injured, and maybe if we can get over that hurdle, we can kick on, and then hopefully we'll go in and have a great end of the month in October. So just before we really move on,
can I come in there before you move on?
Oh, yeah, with us, Foxy, okay.
I keep hearing this terrible away form that we've got, mate. I don't think it's been as bad as people are making it out to be. The game against Aberdeen, where we were in front, lost a last-minute goal, mate, to go to a draw. What was the name I take it? And the game against Motherwell, we came from being behind to get ourselves in front and lost a last-minute goal as well. It's not as if our form away from home has been absolutely atrocious. It's been terrific in Europe. We went to Parkhead. I think we took a bit of stage fright there. Never played, I'll give you that, we never played well at Parkhead. I think Livingston were a lot better than any of us could have imagined. They were well organised, and we just couldn't get into the game, and that was credit to them. But all in all, since the start of the season, our away form, it's not as if we've been gone places and getting whacked 3-4-0. I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be.
I don't think, it's been, really bad, like as if it's a real major concern. I think it's just more to do with, we're just desperate for the team to get that first win. I think once we get that first win, we will move on. It's just maybe, sometimes it can just play in football teams' minds, can't it? Sometimes it's just the way it goes. We're on our way again. And there's always that pressure under the manager to go, right, come on, you haven't had one. You have to get it this week. You have to get it this week. I think once you get that win, you don't have to worry about that. But what do you think of what Foxy said there, Bridge? Would you agree with what Foxy?
Well, that's what I was trying to say to you. There's a lot of folk think the same as Fox, that they don't see too much wrong. There's others look at it a wee bit, shall we say, a bit differently. I may be one of them. I don't think we should be losing goals in the last minute of a game. However, teams do. And we as a team, we've scored goals in the last minute of games. So the reverse must come true at some point or other. But as we're going through this season, I found it disappointing to lose goals in two crucial away games at Motherwell and Aberdeen. In the last, Aberdeen was virtually the last kick of the ball, and Motherwell too. So it's very, very difficult to not to be disappointed, should I say. The other two away games, well, both these places we never actually turned up properly at all. Over at the Peterborough, we never actually turned up. We never get into them at all, and they murdered us 1-0. It could have been a bit more. We could have scored a goal or two, of course, ourselves, but they had far more pressure than we did. And against Livingston was just shocking for us, just shocking. So there's not much we can say. That's the truth of the matter. And yes, I agree with Foxy. When you add in our European away form, it is just unbelievable. It really balances things back up again. But as I'm talking, I'm only talking about our league form. Our home form is wonderful. The results are really good. I wish we could just transfer some of that luck or some of the good form. And I'm sure our manager's going to do it. I'm sure we'll go out against Hamilton and absolutely blitz them. We'll mollocate them. That's what we'll do. We'll mollocate them.
Mollocate them. Well, I think what we'll do is, we've seen obviously an email from Stuart Robson today. I think you've seen that, or Robertson should say. You've seen that today, haven't you?
That's correct. Well, I've got it here in front of me. It's an email at, I think it's an email from, who is it now? I think it's released by the Glasgow City Council, and it's from Stuart Robertson, our managing director. And can I read this out? I hope people don't mind me reading this out.
I will go ahead. Hopefully by the time you've done that, we'll get a few callers. Okay. Do you want to give them the number quickly before we go?
The number is 0141 356 1972.
And Foxy, you want to tell the boys how else they can get involved?
You can join us on Skype at rangersradio.online, and I'll bring you into the call.
Well, there you go, guys. You know what to do. Get yourselves in if you want to talk about this. Bridgeman, take it away.
It's quite long and it's very serious. It's from our managing director Stuart Robertson, and this is an email to the Glasgow City Council regarding the Rangers FC fan zone. And there's a lot of names redacted out of this, so I can't put the names in. So please forgive me. And it just goes, dear somebody, right? Rangers FC fan zone. Thank you for your response to my letter of Friday, the 24th of August. I note that you have failed to address the substantive points I raised in my letter, which has remained confidential, unlike your reply, which was in the public domain almost before I had the opportunity to read it. I also note that you had not responded to my request for a meeting with you and redacted name. I believe such a meeting is now urgent. Given your response to my letter and the briefing done on your behalf by name redacted, I am saddened that you would allow yourself to help generate headlines which appeared in the Sun newspaper accusing members of this club's staff of stoking sectarianism. I can only presume you are trying to deflect from the core issues of our complaint, as my original letter was focused purely on the misrepresentation of your colleague, no name, to the Ibrox and Cessnock Community Council and the subsequent intervention by another no name. Clearly, you have no idea of the extensive work Rangers does within the community, which has been widely commented to rid the country of unacceptable behaviour. These much lauded initiatives were listed by the previous letter to you. However, allowing so-and-so to make your reply public as well as brief the Sun journalist was deeply insulting. It also defamed the hard-working, dedicated staff. That they should be portrayed in this disgraceful manner because someone briefed on your behalf demeans your office. An apology is the least Rangers staff should expect. Also, the timing of so-and-so's briefing and the tweets you posted on Saturday, 1st September, were reckless in the extreme, coming just before a match between Celtic and Rangers. It is astonishing that someone in your position did not appreciate the danger inherent in your actions. This was irresponsible to say the least and betrayed a lack of understanding and narrow-mindedness at a time when the Police Scotland had just visited both clubs to remind the players that their actions can have a dangerous impact on fans during such a passion-filled encounter. I note that so-and-so, who also went public with his views, has not denied any intervention in due process, and that there is a great deal of obfuscation and avoidance of the pertinent issues which this club and his sterling work in the wider community, as well as the desired effect from and avoid legitimate questions on the issue at hand. Right. As a club, we were appalled to read the views promoted by No Name in relation to our communication of the Holditch Colliery disaster. No Name characterisation of our club's annual Loving Cup ceremony at New Year was reprehensible. As you both should know, this ceremony has been an annual fixture at Ibrox every January since we played a friendly match with Stoke City FC in 1937 to benefit the dependents of the 30 miners who died. I sincerely hope so-and-so reflects on so-and-so's views and their promotion across social media. I must also raise my disgust at so-and-so's ill-advised decision to publish private and confidential emails which included my email address and direct dial telephone number. This is behaviour unbecoming of someone holding such a high office and is both unprofessional and irresponsible. Having checked with our advisers, I understand that this is a clear breach of the Data Protection Act 2018. And unless public apologies are issued by Glasgow City Council and before 5 p.m. on Wednesday, 5th September 2018, I will report this to the Information Commissioner's Office. However, the damage is done, so let's return to the issues which you and No Name continue to sidestep. At lunchtime on the 2nd of August, we received written confirmation intimating the withdrawal of the permission to use the Ibrox football complex for a fan zone, 2 working days before the licensing committee was due to consider the matter. Until that moment, the permission to use was on the table and was included in the papers circulated earlier that week by the clerk to the licensing committee. It was also clear to the communication, that a meeting between so-and-so and so-and-so took place in the evening of 1st of August, a meeting from which explicit instruction was issued to the staff of Glasgow Life, hardly what anyone could describe as due process. Please note that I have written evidence of this. It is widely accepted that the Licensing Committee is the proper forum for decisions relating to any licence application. You refer to the objection made by Ibrox and Cessnock Community Council. This was made on the basis of so-and-so's misrepresenting the objectives and the composition of the fan zone and providing the Community Council with incorrect information regarding the utilisation of the facility. Interestingly, the Community Council did not object to the granting of an alcohol licence for the fan zone project. You should also note that the largest customer of the heavily underutilised facility is Rangers FC. Community councils frequently object to planning and licence applications, but due process allows for the cases to be heard in the correct forum and for the decision to be taken by the relevant committees. Rangers have been denied this opportunity due to the direct instruction given by you and no name to Glasgow Life. I would appreciate, therefore, if you could respond to the questions I have previously asked you about your conduct and the conduct of no name. So forgive me, a lot of redacted names here. And here's the things. One, it is normal practice for the leadership of Glasgow City Council I'll read that again. Is it normal practice for the leadership of Glasgow City Council to interfere in simple operational matters, and do you take a view on all PEL applications? Two, why was Rangers Football Club's PEL application not treated in the same manner as all other applications through the established licensing board channels? Number three, why did you cut across a well-established quasi-judicial process? On the wider issue of fan zones, I have in recent days viewed entertaining footage of a fan zone held at the Ibrox Football Complex when Ibrox hosted the Scotland v Georgia match in October 2014. This is exactly what we were planning for our 4-match project, which was being informed by your staff and the staff of Glasgow Life. Your as yet unexplained actions have disappointed and angered in equal measure. It has also been brought to my attention this week that Glasgow City Council could be facilitating the off-market sale of publicly owned land to Celtic Football Club for the purpose of establishing a fan zone. I quote from the GCC paper submitted to the Contracts and Property Committee recommending the sale. Quote, this sale will allow Celtic PLC to develop a fan zone on a site immediately across the road from which was previously used for car parking and provide new facilities to enhance the overall match day experience. And he goes on to say, I also understand that a fan zone was approved by Glasgow City Council for the Scott Brown the testimonial match held at Celtic Park in July this year. And then the last paragraph, you must understand why this is of public interest, because you have halted our pilot fan zone promoted a fan zone at Hampden Stadium, approved the sale of public owned land to Celtic to facilitate the creation of a fan zone, and approved a fan zone for the Scott Brown testimonial. Even the most generous interpretation of these actions leads to one conclusion. The SNP-led City Council has one rule of engagement for Rangers Football Club and a totally different standard of engagement for everyone else. Finally, I would like to reiterate my previous request that we meet at your earliest convenience to discuss and hopefully resolve the issues before us. Yours sincerely, and obviously the lot's redacted out. So that was sent by Stuart Robertson to Glasgow City Council, but they've redacted it out when they released those emails to under freedom of information. So I hope I didn't bore the arse off everybody.
No, well, I was listening there as well, really interesting. I think it's a story that's not going to go away, unfortunately, for the SNP and these certain individuals, because I'm glad to see that the support has pushed it, and I'm really glad to see and which I called for last night, was the club itself is actually dealing with this. The club's pushing for this. We want fair treatment, and I don't think Stuart Robertson missed and hit the wall. I think he was very good there and what he had to say. What are your thoughts on that, Foxy? Because I know you take a lot of interest in all this.
It was a well-worded letter, mate, that was sent to them. I think this just shows that although the fans scream a lot, why aren't Rangers doing anything about this or anything about that? Behind the scenes, that I think that they work on a lot of things that the fans don't see, and that letter proves it to me that they do. And I've criticised Stuart Robinson quite a lot in the past, mate. Not for anything personal, but it just shows you that when he's doing his job and doing it right, he can stick up for the club. So fair play to him. And I think you said that was they were looking for an apology sometime in September. I wonder if they ever got it, mate. Or did they forward it on, you know?
Well, it's not. Remember, this is information coming through, freedom of information. And this is what Glasgow City Council, these are the emails Glasgow City Council have released on the matter. So we probably, they'll never release the one that says, I apologise to you and Rangers. I don't think you're ever going to see that. If indeed they've ever done it, which is a question you're asking. So I don't know whether Rangers have got an email in their hands that they could release to the public to say, this is what we received, and or even a statement to say there's been no apology. We won't know until Rangers let us know, or someone lets us know.
The question would be, is an apology good enough? You know, it's all right saying...
I don't think so. Apology isn't good enough, mate. Heads need to roll for this.
Yeah, that's my
They've been caught out lying, and any elected official that is caught out lying shouldn't remain in their job.
Falling on sword.
We've also been joined by Blue Shadow.
Hiya, Blue.
Evening, Ulster. How we doing, my man?
Not too bad, mate. What's your thoughts on that? Right. I know you had a lot to say about it as well, mate, like the rest of us, but obviously things have moved on a wee bit since then, and we've seen this email today. So what's your thoughts on what you've seen and read?
Well, my main thought that comes to mind is I'm really glad to see the club and in particular Mr. Robertson standing up for the club for once. There's been too often, I think I can only guess there's been a lot of, shall we say, attempted bridge building in the background that we've been unaware of that has just fallen on deaf ears. And we could have told them that from the start. You know, they're not. You know, you can be as nice as your pie; they'll just keep taking more and more until you stand up to them and go, "That's enough." And I'm really glad to see also he brought up about that Glasgow City Council allegedly selling land to those across the city in order to put forward their fan zone while obstructing us at the same point. I'm straight in with Foxy as well. These guys have got, you know, you've been caught out lying. And as an elected official, that can't be allowed to stand for. So for me, they should hand in their resignations tomorrow morning if they had any sense of honour about them. For me.
Well, what do you think of that, Bridge?
I can't disagree with him. I mean, what he's saying is absolutely true. If they've got anything about them, based on what we've read, and obviously we've not seen. We haven't seen any reply. There's no retort, nothing at all. So all we can assume is that this is it, and they haven't responded in the decent manner. So as far as I'm concerned, it's an absolute shocker. And get rid of them. Just get rid of them. One way or another, just get rid of them. They're no good to us. They're no good to us in Glasgow. And if they're not going to pay for this, they're never going to pay for anything, and that's for sure. Which is sad.
Well, it is. It's sad that, you know, I think whatever Rangers try to go for now from now on, whatever it may be, for a Rangers sort of minded thing, if the club's trying to put something in to make this day or have a fun day or try to get land like other clubs have done, can you ever actually trust Foxy, these certain councillors, to be fair and impartial after what we've seen this last couple of weeks?
I think when it comes to our club, there's nothing impartial in Glasgow City Council, mate, or in that hand, anything to do with the SNP. I said the other night when we were speaking about it, this has been a long drawn out attack on our club. It shows no sign of ending, and I don't know how we stop it, mate. It's up to us supporting the club to stand our ground, and we need to do it at one point, and I think this should be one of the points that we stand our ground in. And once we see elected officials being removed for their job, maybe things will change, mate. I think Stuart Robertson was quite right in bringing up the fan zones that's been made available at Hampden Park, and even land to Celtic for their fan zone. Whereas we get absolutely nothing. And our club is a credit to the community, mate. They're always involved in community initiatives. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I was watching as one of our security people was going about with a couple of police officers telling people to use the litter bins, etc. Don't leave the place in a mess. The fans were obeying. And we take pride in Ibrox, mate. And all we ever seem to see is graffiti go up round about our ground, painted at all hours at night, by other fans, supporters, etc. And you don't see this coming through our support, mate. We're good in our area, and we always have been. And it's about time the council did look after a club that is behaving well.
Here, mate. What do you think, Billy?
Oh, I mean, for once we're totally working from the same sheet as Fox. I mean, the amount of things that Rangers Charity does around Glasgow, and not counting Erskine, the Erskine Hospital, that's a separate thing. Taking that as a separate thing altogether. It's all the other things it does, and the sleep out, you name it. The sleepovers at Ibrox, and it does so many different things. And generally, all over, there's going to be the odd exception, but generally our fans are, amongst the best behaved fans that I'm aware of. You see other fans all the time, but they are not subjected to the same level of scrutiny that our lads are. And I mean, I think what sums it up for me more than anything else was that picture again at the Cup final, where there was thousands of them behind the policemen, and they were filming Rangers fans.
Yeah,
and that just sums it up for me. It was, you got mass disorder going on behind you, and what are they counted? What are they paid their attention to? 50 lads that have just lost their cool a bit and gone over the railings. Allegedly, I am not. I've heard it from other people. I have no evidence of it, because certain people were spitting on disabled supporters.
When you're talking about initiatives and that, the big sleep out is due up in November. I've done it myself, along with a couple of boys on this platform 2 years ago. We managed to raise, even on a small platform like this, I think it was about £5,000. And I was amazed at the people that took part in that sleep out. The weather was not exactly kind, and it's people from all walks of life, all Rangers supporters doing it, mate. And the atmosphere amongst the people at it, and the willingness. There was one lassie done, I think it was the 3 nights that it was over. She'd done 3 nights in a trot, and our support are fantastic for any charity in Glasgow, and we should be recognised for that, mate.
I agree with you. Club. And Rangers do some amazing things, no doubt about it. Like, and I'm reading up all the time, and I know I'm not living over there, obviously, but you read up about it. The club's always, and I think we could even do more. I think the club could do even more, because I know there's things that don't even get to the press. It doesn't even come out on the website. We stories and good things to do for people, but I think the saddest thing of the whole fan zone.
I'll give you one example. There was a certain member of the old platform who did the Glasgow run, and he was sponsored by this platform again, and they raised a not insignificant amount of money. Does that make the papers? Does it help? All they're interested in is negative stories about Rangers. That's it's certainly been going on for years. But coming to some of the
opposites. Oh, sorry,
sorry, mate. I was going to come.
No, carry on, please. A
bit more positive was the fact that I think that the club need to look to their old players or somebody well known. I think somebody needs to step forward, like Sandy Jardine did when the club was in deep trouble. I think it needs a figurehead that people can latch onto and fall in behind, and a little bit of organisation. Whether it's form letters to send to your MPs or whatever. People need a bit of help, a bit of direction in order to make a concerted effort to put pressure on these people, be the councillors, be the MSPs, be the government themselves, and the press, in order to make change in Scotland. Because I don't know about anybody else, but this is just eventually for me it's been the last straw, and it's break the camel's back. I just wish that if I looked to my MP, I wish I would make a difference because I would.
Bridge, you were coming in there, mate, myself?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and follow on from what Foxy was saying, and everybody else. Look, when you talk about the shall we say, round about Ibrox being clean, it is a clean, and Fox is right. The only time it gets messed up is when we've got if there are any of our own that do it, then they're going to get lectured or spoken to, I would hope. But if there's anybody else that does it, we've probably a great idea without having to answer one. If a choice of three, we know we don't need to go any further than one who's done it. But my complaint about it is these stories come up. They're in the, shall we say, they're in the social media area immediately because people take photos and post them. And so they're in there for the whole world to see. And I find that you get the papers today, for instance, the headlines today allegedly has got the Evening Times saying about the 1872's fight against the City Council, yeah? So just what we were speaking about earlier. So that was taken from Twitter. So we see all these photos when spray painting and all that Fox has mentioned. When that gets done, that goes into Twitter. But when it's against us, it's very rarely ever put into the main media as a story. They'll pick up all the other stuff that's against Rangers. They'll pick it up from Twitter and put it out. But when it comes to them, so I think what Shadow was saying, one side is we want the positives for us, but we're not going to get them. We only get the negatives. But they never get the negative, allegedly. They never, ever get the negatives. There's been some really, really major stories, and I don't mean out with the football itself. I mean within the football. So what guys mentioned the other night there, the hanging the effigies at Celtic Park, that should have been picked up by at least 2 newspapers and ran and ran and ran. That should have been done. It's not been done, as we know. There are a number of other things. The wee boy they opened the door and threw the bottle in and hit the wee boy in the head. That should have ran forever and ever and ever. The pitch invasion by the Hibs fans should have ran and ran and ran forever again. Nothing. Rangers never even got their medals. Never even got their medals. They were handed a box with the medals in it, but to a junior boy. That is all wrong. That should all have been highlighted and taken to the nth degree. It doesn't happen. So that's what we've got. We've got shall we say, how can we say this? Oh, I don't know how to say it now. I've lost it. We've got a media that don't like us, but no only that, they actually like them. So maybe that's the way it is. A completely unbalanced media, and we're not going to get anything out of it, in my opinion. That's what I've got to say.
I think the saddest part of it is it's the fan zone situation. It's actually directly affecting kids, and that's the saddest part. I think it's the wee ones we need to look after here, and this is the future of our club. I know, and like myself especially, coming over early. We were always over early because that's just the way the boats go. So you're over about 4 hours early. And literally, if you can get into a bar, if you can get snuck into a bar somewhere and kept out of the road, you get a can of Coke, you get a packet of crisps, you get told, don't make a show of yourself, or just sort of sit there if you can and out of the road. Because you'd be, and now I know it's getting harder and harder, especially for us. There's bars that used to take, like the Rolls Royce and various others, used to take young ones in, and I know now that a lot of them don't, because obviously the young ones are taking up probably punters who are having a drink, wherever the young ones probably aren't. And that's just the way it is. It's hard to get them in, and like me bringing young nephew over, you have nowhere really for them to do. It can be a bit boring for them, and I've been through it myself, But I think if you have a fan zone there, for different things to go. You can have you congregate fathers, and like say myself, I could go with the young nephew, have a wee pint, but the boys could still come, so everybody could have a wee drink. He'll still be there involved in the crack, meeting ex-players, learn a wee bit about the history of the club, different wee things going on. It makes the whole day and the whole atmosphere a wee bit more cracking. He'll get to meet different wee birds from Glasgow and all over the place, England, all over Scotland, and make wee friendships of his own. And he'd be coming back to his mum, with some cracking stories to tell, rather than saying, "Uncle was in the bar and Uncle William, was in there," or whatever. Do you not think that's the saddest part, Foxy? Because it is for the kids. It's to sort of get the experience, isn't it? Try and make it a carnival atmosphere for them, rather than just,
What I was looking forward to the fan zone for was, mate, it was a place to meet people that we know on, like say, this platform. I was hoping that some of it would be undercover, because the Glasgow weather's not always very receptive in the days of games, and instead of standing outside getting soaked, you'd be able to go in a few hours before the game and meet people, because the way the seating is at Ibrox now, everybody's got season. You don't get to sit in groups now so much, so meeting somebody before the game, having a beer and a pie, and having room to talk. That's what I was looking forward to. And it made it a bit easier for me, like say when I meet Oxkey, because he's only 4 feet 11, and I have trouble getting him into cups at times,
He's gonna go
You cheeky devil. Yeah, cheeky devil.
He's slipping it in there while I'm... Because he knows
Absolutely.
I don't have the same iron fist, you see, to stop him. Well, what about yourself, Bridge, though? Fan zone. And Fox makes a good point, not just for young ones. Like yourself, meeting the boys, and I know you like to meet the boys, but you'd have somewhere to actually, things going on around you, a wee bit of atmosphere. Hey, something that could be fantastic for us, It's just unfortunate how it all... A good story has turned into a real dirty one, to be honest, the way it's all coming across.
Rangers fan zone with a licence would be an absolute fantastic thing for Rangers. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And as Foxy quite rightly says, before the game, there's a bit of cover and a bit of social going on, people meeting each other, and their boys have got something to do, or their grandsons or whatever. The kids have got something to do while the men can stand at the door, stand at the window, whatever they want to do, or just go for a pint and just go on with their life before the game. So I'd be really, really keen. I'd be really keen on that. But what I'd like to know is, when the fan zone does come, which I believe it will, I want to know where the bistro is going to be, Fox. So whereabouts are we going to meet in the fan zone? Because you need to tell everybody where it's going to be, and will we be there?
We need to get the fan zone first, mate.
Oh yes, let's assume it's going to come. I'm sure it will.
Well, I would agree with Bridge there. I would say things will be changing very soon. What would your thoughts on that, Blue? Would you be confident now that, given what's happening here, or what's happening and how the club's approaching it and the fans, do you think we'll see a fan zone eventually?
I think that we'll see one eventually. Where it'll actually happen is another matter altogether, because I think that even if we manage to get sort out these people that have how can I put it, worked against us, and we actually get it about and get rid of them, then I think that as a matter of point, the council will, whoever replaces them, will actually make a point of not letting us to have the fan zone there. I think that will be, I think it will end up with the heels will be in on both sides. So whether or not we'll have to find somewhere else, whether that's Edmiston House, which will cost millions upon millions to do up. I don't know whether the club's got the money to do that, or whether it's that place that the chap who was the hotelier who's going to take out the old offices that are underneath the Copeland Fox.
That was something dog, wasn't it? We were going to open a bar. I can't remember right. Copper Dog, I think it was, wasn't it?
It was something like, I don't know whether something could be done there in the land that's around that, or something like that. Start it small. You might have to, until we can afford to perhaps do Edmiston House when we get the money coming in order to do that. But then again, we may have benefactors that can afford to put the money in. I have no idea. That would mean I think that would probably need attracting additional investment. So I think in the end we're going to have to look for somewhere else to do it around Ibrox.
Okay. Well, does any before we move on here? Has anybody last comments on the whole situation, or can we move on?
What do you mean, Fog?
No, you happy enough? I'm saying we can move on then to different matters, unless anybody has anything else for the add, though.
Absolutely, Pam. Go for it.
Yeah, we're ready to go. Just quickly, though, I know it's not really a Rangers matter; it's more of a Dundee matter. But to make any comments on Neil McCann here? He's departed today. Him and his backroom staff, or one of his backroom staff, anyway. They had moved on from Dundee after a bad sort of start to the season.
He's been stabbed in the back. Once again, stabbed in the back. That's what it's been.
I think they've only had one win, Blue, haven't they, the whole season so far, and the rest have been defeats.
Is that Neil McCann you said had been moved on?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a surprise. I say, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody's had as you were saying just now, had a knife in the back to him, because as soon as he signed somebody recently, I wondered if this might happen. And I'll leave it to people's own guesses who that might be.
Wouldn't be one of Ox's old-time favourites, would it?
Yeah, exactly. Is that what you're implying here, Blue Shadow?
Far be it from me.
You saying the same person could manage two different teams this early on in the season?
I couldn't possibly say that, but others might.
It was said early on. Just watch this space right enough. It was said early on.
Yeah, and as soon as he went there, I said, "That's a bad idea, Neil."
What about yourself,
I'm sure I heard somebody saying we're going to put someone in. We're going to ask him to take someone in to help him. Someone with great experience, and you can add 2 and 2 and get 5 there if you wish. But my God, it's so quick, isn't it? So quick after that. I honestly think he's been stabbed in the back. Look, I don't know if he's a good manager or not, to be perfectly honest with you. He's managing a team there. He managed to somehow to not get relegated last season. But I don't know if he's a good manager or not. So I don't want to make too much comment. I wish him all the best in his career. He may find, to his horror, he wakes up tomorrow morning and thinks, I don't want to be involved at that level of football again. I just don't want to be involved. I want to go back as a pundit somewhere, which he was very good at, and I think most people liked him. I just don't know if he'd be a big loss to the game. Can I say that in the nicest way? I don't know. I'd love to have seen him succeeding because I liked him. I liked him as a person when he was playing with the Rangers, and I liked listening to him when he was doing his punditry. So I hope, whatever he does, maybe go back to punditry if he can get a nice wee job with Sky or one of them, BT Sport. We're always looking for allies in these places, aren't we? So just go for it.
Anything to say, Foxy, on that?
I feel sorry for Neil. I like Neil as a player. I liked the way he stood up for us when he was a pundit on the television. I don't think people realise the amount of luck you need in football when you go into management. You can make all the greatest decisions in the world, but all it takes is one of your players to put the ball in his own net and you lose 3 points. And he was trying to get Dundee to play a good style of football. It never worked out for them. They've suffered a long line of defeats there. They won that game against Hamilton, which they said that if he didn't win that he would be sacked. And then they tried to bring Jim Jeffries in over the top of him, mate. I don't know whether he was pushed or he resigned, mate, but I wouldn't have took that in a joke, because that's just a sign that...
Oh, was that right? Was that what the rumour was?
Aye.
Didn't hear that.
I hope he stays in and about football. He's a great pundit and a decent guy. Good luck to Neil.
Here's another question, just on the same stuff. Why Jim Jeffries? The Scottish teams, they've been through this so often before. I know he's in a steady Eddie in the league, but I think you'd be looking for something a wee bit different. Do you not think so, Fox? You know what I mean? Because done all these old same managers. We've seen them all going through the different clubs. I know I have anyway from I've grown up watching football. You know, and I think sometimes you sort of try something different, you know. And
I don't know what some of these clubs expect out of their managers. The boy was Alan Archibald that gets sacked for Thistle as well. These boys are running on a pittance, mate. They've got to take in all free transfers and try and pay as much money as they can to hold a team together. It's no easy. And there'll be probably plenty of good managers that's been sacked, and we all know them, mate. It's happened all over the world. If you look at Mourinho there, who's at Man United, hanging on with his fingertips, you can't say he's not a good manager, but sometimes you don't fit in at a club. You make a couple of wrong decisions and then you're in trouble. It's a tough old game, the football management game.
Oh, it is. There's no doubt about that.
Ulster, see on that point there you mentioned, I think that Jim Jeffries, if it is going to be Jim Jeffries, I think that's a major backward step for Scottish football. He's a dinosaur, I mean a true dinosaur. And, you know, he's Mr. Glum. You know, it's just unbelievable, you know.
Mr. Glum.
He is. He hardly ever even speaks with a smile on his face, if you follow what I mean, you know.
Because he hardly ever wins.
He's obviously been a good manager and a great motivator because he's had great success with a number of clubs. So I'm not trying to take anything away from him that way. But my goodness gracious, you're turning the clock back if you bring Jim Jeffrey into the Scottish Premier League. It's like, to me, and I'm not being funny when I say this, I don't mean to disrespect people in any way, shape or form, but John Hughes, another one. How anyone would want John Hughes to run a Premiership club, I don't know. It just ain't going to happen. You need people with a bit better foresight than that, you know. I don't know what age Jim Jeffries is, but he's probably a good age. So that's my thoughts.
See, for me, that's if Stephen Gerrard never got off to a great start there, and then they said to him, we're going to bring in Walter. You undermine him straight away. And people that have got a bit of integrity, like Stephen Gerrard, would just walk away, mate. They live and die by their mistakes, and that's the way it should be in football. I don't think bringing somebody to oversee you gives you much confidence that the board have any belief in you. So, as I said, good luck, Neil McCann. I hope he gets another job.
I probably will. It's just a wee thought I had, because I remember growing up, you had I think it was Jimmy Calderwood, you had Jim Jeffries and Mark McGee and who else was there? There was a couple of other ones, but they always seem to just sort of flutter about the clubs, you know what I mean, instead of, and I think Scottish football sort of, to be fair, it is moving on a wee bit. Like, I think that, you know,
do you think Big McLeish will suffer the same fate at Scotland, mate?
Oh, he hasn't got long. Yeah, they didn't want him from the beginning. A lot of people in the Scotland support, so, and for reasons that we all know. So I don't think he's got much hope.
Well, I think he's got 2 games, and he's got to win them. And he's got to win them well, and if he does, he'll probably retain his position for another 6 months, 10 years, 6 months. Other than that, he's got to go because they're clamouring for him to go now. Even when they speak positive about him, there's a big but at the end, you know. So as I said to you last night, you've got maybe 6 or 8 guys that work with the BBC, and they have got all the power in Scottish football. Believe me, they have got all the power. Everything they say is a direct influence on what goes on in Scottish football.
Lou, have you any thoughts on it, mate? Then?
Well, I think what sprung to mind is when you're talking about McCann there, is I think Neil McCann he's always comes across as a knowledgeable chap. He's always come across as a good, basically a good lad, a good solid lad that's reliable. And perhaps that's what he suffered from. Perhaps he was just too nice. And, and being a nice guy in football management doesn't seem to wear very well. And what amazes me is people talking about Jeffries. If I remember rightly, he left them firm in about 2014. And he's a sport...
I hate you.
Confirm.
Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
I just brought that as, Brisbane. And he left in 2014, and he's not managed a team since. And then I was just reading it up there. He says apparently he's a sporting director at Edinburgh City. So he's not managed a team in 4 years, and all he's been doing is work as a sporting director. And I don't think Edinburgh City's been doing wonderfully well on its own. So I think that's a terrible move for Dundee myself. But then again, also as well, I don't know if anybody read that apparently Barry's been approached for a job as a new manager.
Oh, aye, Kelty Hearts, isn't it?
That's right, Kelty Hearts have come in for Barry Ferguson.
Here, but you know the good thing
he could get a Dundee job, couldn't he? He could get a Dundee job.
I think it'd be a better move, and I wouldn't put him in there. I don't think Barry is a manager. You know, as opposed to what McCann's too nice a guy. I don't think Barry's personality suits management. He might be good as an assistant manager, but I don't think he suits as a manager for me.
I was thinking though the only good thing about having Jim Jeffries is if we're playing him and he's laying there slumped in his chair after another hammering by Rangers, maybe it'll be like the old days again. Just be like the old days.
I know, but think about how your food bill would go up.
Oh my God.
Poor Jimmy. Just quickly as well, we'll move on anyway from that, but it's good to get your points on Neil McCann. I think we'll all feel a wee bit for him, but it's just the way it works out. As Foxy says, it's a tough old game, especially as management levels.
I'll tell you who's done it. I mean, it can be done, but I'll tell you who's done a fantastic job is the club up the road to me says that they've brought in manager after manager. Who's he? And generally they've done pretty well. So, you can go abroad and pick up the right managers and so they're out there. So Dundee just needs to get some, if they haven't got the people that can do it themselves, get people in and to give them a hand and get the right man in and stand by him because, otherwise they're going to end up in a hell of a mess.
Aye. Well, to be fair now, I'll put my hands up and say it. I think Kilmarnock, even at the time getting Clark, I thought it was a cracking move. And to be fair, they have done very, very well ever since him coming in. So as you say, it is about budgets as well. But sometimes if you bide your time and recruit at the right time when someone's looking to prove themselves in football again, you can pick up the right person. But it's just how you do it.
It's not all about budget. And I'm not doing this deliberately to wind you up, Bridge. But if you look at what the Berlin's budget's been for the past few years, they've been in real trouble. And that young manager they've got, Johnston, has nearly got them promoted several times. And they can't hand out any more than 12-month contracts because they're in such financial stook.
Is that Magic Johnson? Magic Johnson used to play. He played for Rangers for a season or so.
I used to play. He used to play on the wing for Rangers. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, he's a good coach. I think he was doing it to. I think he was doing it Queen of the South or something for a while,
He was at Queen of the South and he was also at Kilmarnock. And then the boss started selling players out without asking him.
I remember that.
And he says, I'm not having that. Chucked his resignation in, went to Queen of the South, did a good job. I don't know what's happened. I don't keep that close an eye on him. But he seems to have done he certainly seems to have done a good job. And for me, that might be if Dundee can afford him or persuade him, that might be a good move for Dundee.
You might be right there, by the way. That's not a bad shout, to be honest. But then again, they'd have to offer him something. I don't mean necessarily fantastic money, but they would have to offer him some because he's got Dunfermline, excuse me, when I spit that name out. He's got them playing very well. And he did that with Queen of the South. I remember it well. They came up to Ibrox and they beat us. What a disaster for us that night was. I remember these days. But no, he's playing well. So yeah, I don't think it would go too far wrong. But nothing would surprise me if Dundee went and spoke to Barry Ferguson just for saying sake, or even Jim Duffy there, because I know that Dumbarton have got a space as well. They've not got a manager, so Jim Duffy could probably get that as well. He's quite well quoted as well.
Just quickly, I was taking away the girl Edinburgh City. They're top of the league, Blue. Runaway leaders.
Are they?
Yeah.
That's it. Bridgeman will be the new season ticket next week.
Have Dundee no got a real good prospect in their midfield at the moment? Just a pity we Neil never sold him to the Rangers before he left.
Oh, bro. Well, we've got to wait a couple of minutes before we go to your treat. Do you want to quickly just tell us, Bridgeman, about what you've been hearing about maybe a potential Rangers shop popping up soon?
Oh, I think I mentioned it quickly last night. So if anybody in the lobby, in fact, if we get anybody want to call in after the music break, the tunes break, it's 0141 356 1972. Or you can get us on Skype at rangersradio.online. Foxy will bring you in. But I believe it's been put out by Rangers, the Rangers tweet or something like that they're opening a shop in the Inner Square, just close to the subway station. And I think my imagination tells me that there used to be it's an upstairs, downstairs shop. And there used to be a shop there called Maplin's that in Maplin's went out of business. So I think it might be that shop. And it's quite a prominent position in Inner Square. So that would be quite good. I don't know whether it's going to be a pop-up shop type of thing, just for Christmas or something. But, it shows there's intent, providing it is all true and not just mere gossip. Providing it's all true, it would be really, really good. It'll be the first time we've had a shop in town in many a long year. And they're sadly missed, that's for sure.
Okay, mate. Well, as I say, we'll go for a wee tune. If any of you want to pick up from that afterwards, you can. Or if anybody wants to ring in, you're more than welcome. So if we all go on mute, Fox will give us a wee tune.
I've sailed the wide Atlantic, across the broad Pacific shore. I've sailed around the stormy capes, I've heard the parties roar. I fly the Indian Ocean, I've sailed the China Sea. Well, there's a sea back home in Scotland, means more than all the rest to me. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of thy brow. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of thy brow. And it happens when the orange beat the green. No more I'll sail the seven seas, no more I'll ever roam. No more I'll feel the urge again, I'm back where I belong. At 3 o'clock each Saturday, I'll join a happy throng, with Rangers banners all around. We'll proudly sing this song. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of thy brow. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of thy brow. And it happens when the orange beat the green. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of thy brow. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue sea of Ibrox, and it happens when the orange beat the green, and it happens when the orange beat the green.
So we're all back then.
That was tremendous. Tremendous. Brilliant dancing in the lobby there.
By the way, I've got a couple of CDs that boy's singing to give away, so we'll need to figure out a wee competition for it. The album's called The Teddy Bear's Picnic, and it features other songs like Every Other Saturday, Rangers Over Here, The Ibrox Disaster, Trip to Ibrox, Follow, Simply the Best. And it's a great CD, and we'll figure out a way to get them away. Yeah? First woman caller of the night's guaranteed one. There we go.
Ooh. Well, we'll definitely get a competition going on the Facebook. As I say, I'm away tomorrow, but we'll talk about that a wee bit later. But yeah, we'll get something sorted on the Facebook, definitely. William Armour put in there, he says, I was gutted that Maplin's went, but not no more. Well, now the Rangers shop's going to be in there, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Well, I think that ties in what Oxy's been saying, mate, about probably Sports Direct have got the Rangers shop at the ground, mate, under contract to probably January. We're making sure we've got another outlet to sell over the Christmas period. Steve Greaves have started stocking our stuff as well. So
yeah, that's correct.
We're starting to get them out there, guys. It's apparently as soon as they go into the shops, they're more or less wiped out right away, and so it's another outlet that we can go to and buy our merchandise.
Can I just say that Stevie Scotty in the lobby there's put something in the lobby mentioning that, as far as he's concerned, it is happening. The shop is happening, and in fact, he thinks and believes that is a pop-up shop. And that may fall into line, just like Foxy said, it falls into line with some of the things we've been hearing, like the contract for the mega store at Ibrox runs out January, February time. So that just might fit in nicely with that. They'll get the shop up for Christmas. It might only be just one shop, there may be more, but let's hope so. And hopefully there's other news about shops as well and strips getting sold. They're really happy about that.
Great. What about yourself, Lee? Any thoughts on it, mate?
Well, I think it's great that we're getting a pop-up shop, a wee thing that they'll take something of their own. And as well as, even if we get the shop back in January, will it no need a refit as well? So it might go on beyond Christmas.
True. Very true. So what we're going to go on to next here is a testimonial for Chrissy Boyd, which is going to be at Kilmarnock Stadium. And obviously it's going to be a Rangers. I think it's a Rangers Select Euro team. So that'll be interesting. Any thoughts of Chrissy Boyd? Because obviously scored some amount of goals for the Rangers, didn't he? Like, you know what I mean? Let's be serious. Through the years. I know his second stint wasn't just as good, but I think the big man deserves a testimonial. Would you not agree, Fox?
Sorry, mate, I was doing something there. I'll get back into that in a minute.
All right, Bridgeman.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Chris Boyd testimonial.
Yeah, the testimonial between Killie and the Rangers.
Euro 11. It's a Rangers Euro 11, so I would imagine it's all the Dutchmen and a few other nationalities may say, but I would imagine he's very friendly with some of these guys still, you know. Well, there's a lot of folk got a lot to say about Chris Boyd. Personally, the Chris Boyd that's there now, and the one that's had his last year with Rangers wasn't the Chris Boyd I wanted playing for us or representing us at all. The way he speaks about Rangers now is in some instances quite insulting. I take it as an insult anyway. So if anybody's got anything to say about it, I would love to hear them, because I just can't see it. But take my hat off to him. He has been the greatest goal scorer, certainly of the modern day. He's a marvellous goal scorer. What can we say? I think it's on the 17th of November, and it's at Rugby Park, as you said. And it's going to be Kelly Special 11, Invitation 11 or something, versus a Rangers Euro 11. So if anybody's going down, I know there's a load of Rangers fans love him and will go down there and maybe even live in the area and just go along to it and give him some money. If it was me, no, I wouldn't go. I personally wouldn't go. No, and not because I just wouldn't go. Let's put it that way.
Even if Patch comes back, hope he's one of the Euro ones. Hope he gets in the team.
Oh, don't doubt it'll be a very entertaining game, and I'm sorry, pal. It's not in me to say I would go to it. I wouldn't go to it.
Oh, you're just being honest, mate. That's all. Everybody has their own views, and that's Rangers Radio for you. Everybody has their own say on different things. Blue, have you any thoughts on it, mate?
I'm afraid I share the views of Bridgeman. If it was me, I don't think I'd be going. Yes, he scored a hat load of goals for Rangers, and he did a fantastic thing. And I think he was here 3 or 4 years the first time. But when things went downhill, he was out the door that fast. You could barely see the doors move. I think he went away to Turkey, and he was offered something like £50,000-60,000 a week to go to Turkey, and he was straight out that door. Couldn't wait for it. The second time around, I'm not joking, mate. He only needed. I saw him walk off the park one day, and I thought all he needs is a flat cap and a pair of wellies, and it looked like Farmer Giles going across a ploughed field. It was the condition he was in was just absolutely shocking. I mean, he worked his backs off at Kilmarnock to get himself the contract at Rangers, and then lets himself down that badly at Rangers the second time. Nah, I'm sorry for me. No, I wouldn't be keen with it. And I thought it used to be if you were 10 years at a club, you got a testimonial. What's he been? 3 years the first time, and then was it 1 or 2 years the second time, which doesn't really count because he just took a wage off us and did very little else. I don't think he deserves a testimonial for me. I'm sorry, boys, but there'll be. I think Lee Wallace deserves a testimonial if he's going next year or whatever. Then yeah, I'd give him a testimonial because he stuck by us, and I think it's players like that deserve a testimonial.
Fox, are you back with us?
I think it's been done for a good reason, mate. I think most of the money has gone to a charitable institution. I'm not sure which one it is. And I think it's a decent tribute. Chris Boyd was a great goal scorer for us, mate. And okay, he's away for the club, but he proved last year that he can still do it in the top league. And I hope he gets a good turnout, especially if the money's gone to some charity, mate.
Can I just come in there? I'll totally change what it says. If the money's all going to charity, that's a totally different kettle of fish for me. If it was, good on him if it's going, the money's going to the mental. Hereford Blue said it's going to a mental health charity, so that's right.
Oh, well, that's great.
Good on him. Totally different. Totally changes the perspective for me.
Let him have it then. Let him have his testimony if it's going to charity. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's a fair point that Fox makes there, and you as well, Blue, because I will be honest. That last season he had with Rangers with us, I thought that guy's done. He is finished because he was overweight, as you say. He just wasn't on it. But to then have the season he did last season, and he was top goal scorer in the league, and you're talking about reportedly £50 million strikers, etc., across the city. And Chris Boyd, the end up top goal scorer at his age. Like, is that? Oh, what way to put this? Is that a great thing for Chris Boyd, or is it more really reflected on maybe how poor the division was last season for him to get so many goals in it?
No,
can I come in on that?
I only go back. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I take my hat off to him. He's certainly got about his work, and Clark's done well by him. I believe he was only asked to train 1 day a week. That's what I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But so it didn't need to kill his body, and he apparently slimmed down, and things looked a lot better for him. So maybe he was feeling a bit illness with it all as well. So somebody looking after you like that, and you start to respond, things go well for you. Look, he was the top goal scorer in the league. It wasn't a great number of goals, but he still scored a lot of goals, never mind. And I take my hat off to him for that, and that alone. As Foxy said, right, he was a fabulous goal scorer for us, no doubt about it. Fabulous goal scorer. But, For the last time he was at Ibrox playing for us, I'm sorry, it was just so poor it's no real. And his attitude towards us since he left Ibrox has been nothing short of abysmal, in my opinion. Hence the reason why I wouldn't go. But I don't want to take anything away from him that way. He thoroughly deserves a testimonial from Kilmarnock. He's been with him a long time when you add all the years in. So good luck to him.
Foxy, you were coming in, mate?
That's all right, Bridge Governor. Can I just let it be known that to Skipper and Cumbrian, I'll accept the blackmail you've got on me, my nurse Gladys. So you two will get a CD as soon as I see he's at the game. Keep that one quiet, please.
I think it's a bit more than black. Oh no, it's Foxy. That's shocking.
Oh, they two are cliques. They're dying to tell stories, mate. You've got to break them.
And they'll add things to the story as well. No
I
matter
know.
what you tell them, they'll tell more. That's shockers.
Magpie had a good attempt there as well, but somebody says in the lobby, it's Jeremy Kyle he wants the right to.
Jeremy Kyle. Well, we'll move on. There's been reports today from various outlets that there could be a potential return for Stephen Davis in January. This is a rumour. It doesn't really seem to be going away, and it seems to be rearing its head again. But we've asked for questions to the panel tonight, and a few of them are about Stephen Davis. So I'm just going to bundle them all in together rather than going over old ground. So Peter Muir Ramsey has asked, would you sign back Stephen Davis for Rangers? I think we have enough midfielders, so he's maybe thinking we've enough already. Then we've got Lee Mackin, Stephen Davis being linked again for January when he'll be 33, but still pure class. Surely he'd walk straight into the team. Thoughts on this? So, and another one, Tom King, if we re-sign Stephen Davis, who would you get rid of and why? So that's a bundle of all different questions. And we'll go to you first, Blue, and you can pick off whatever you want out of them, mate.
For me, it's a very tough question because we do, really at the minute, midfielders are not what we need. I mean, for me, we need a striker more than anything else. So we go out if we're not going to have a lot of money to spend, and if we're going to go out and get ourselves a striker to create competition and to create backup for, so it's a situation that we're going to have when the Scottish Cup semi doesn't arise again. There's not going to be any money to bring in Stephen Davis in January. So whether or not we'd look at him in the summer again or whether Stephen Davis would be interested this summer is just a whole other matter. And because in the summer, then you've got a whole load like Ejaria and various other people's loans will be over. So we could, there would be room to bring in Stephen Davis then rather than looking at it in January for me.
Okay. Bridgeman?
I have to say that if it was me, and I say this because I absolutely idolised Davis. I thought Davis was one of the better players that we'd ever had in our books. He had everything. He had everything going for him for me as a Rangers player. Captain, he's just outstanding for me, outstanding. I was broken-hearted when he went. I understand all the things that a lot of these players left. I understand fully what it was. And he went down to Southampton, and he's been very good for them. And they've been very good with him. And I think it's just this last season there, tail end of last season and this season, he's not getting in the team. He maybe had a few injuries and it's just, time goes on.
Different manager, mate. Different manager.
That's correct. And things change. So we understand all these things. So I think if I was given the choice to take Stephen Davis back, it wouldn't be me, obviously, it'd be my manager. So if Stephen Gerrard thinks that he would be a good signing for us, I'd be delighted. Let's put it that way. I'm under no illusions. I don't know how much money the boy would want. I don't know how much money Southampton would want, or would we just wait until sign a pre-contract and bring him up for nothing. If we could do that, that might make up for some of the excessive wages, if there is such a thing as excessive wages. I just don't know. But seriously, guys, in my opinion, I would take him back in a heartbeat. The day before tomorrow, I would take Stephen Davis back. And I would even, providing everything goes well with him and he gets through the fitness and all the rest of it, I would take him back in and he'd be my captain.
Ooh. What do you think of that, Foxy? Would you agree with that? I know we've been, haven't we? We've been thinking, a lot of us have been thinking, is our captain at the club yet? If Stephen Davis was to come in, if you would want him in, would you agree with that? Maybe he's captain material?
Oh, without a doubt, he's captain material. But whether Stephen Gerrard would take that honour off of James Taverner, I don't know. I'd take him in a minute, mate. People are saying, who would we get rid of at in midfield? Absolutely no one. We've got good midfield players, but Stephen Davis is a class above that. He can open defences, as we know from previous times he's been at Ibrox. We know, watching the Premier League, how good a player he is, how good he is for Northern Ireland. I think at the age he's at the now, he's still the best player in Northern Ireland's national team, and I would take him. Oh, God. People are always saying they'd run a player out of Ibrox. I'd run down to Southampton to bring him back up, mate. And I think Southampton wouldn't be that awkward to deal with. They stole him off us in the first place for 800 grand. The SFA stole that 800 grand off of us. So maybe Southampton would feel a wee bit generous and let him go on a free to a club that he really loves.
Well said, Foxy. Well said.
You're bad for commenting. You're biased.
Well, I am biased. Like, there's no, I don't even deny it. I'm sick. I try to stick up for Hodgson as long as it's pretty good.
Ulster, he's one of your countrymen, and you, being a Rangers fan as well, you probably idolised the guy when he was playing with Rangers, and probably idolised him still. He went to Southampton, so to all intents and purposes, he came up to Rangers, served a number of years, went down to Southampton, and he served a number of years there as well. And if it's at all possible, and I mean this in all sincerity, he has to fit the bill from a fitness perspective. The club can't afford to bring someone in. They will probably want a good wage. They can't afford to bring someone in at a good wage and he's unfit. He has to be fit and he has to get right into the team and play. That's basically, that would be a condition. Other than that, please come back, please. I don't know what you think.
I think the key thing, Bridgeman, will be, you just named it, the wage. You know, how, well, if Southampton are prepared, I don't know how long he's got left in his contract, right? So, but say it's till the end of the season. Southampton would be more than likely to be quite prepared to just weigh him in for 6 months. If it's 18 months or it starts getting into that, then perhaps they might not be quite so interested, because he's got to be on. I mean, you know, he was their captain at one point, probably when this contract he's on was issued, so he's got to be on over 50, 60 grand a week at the minute.
Oh, he'd be on big dough, there's no doubt. I seen a video there actually after one of the home games, and one of the guys grabbed him and asked him, "You going to sign back for the Rangers?" He says, hopefully one day. But as I say, he is class act, like he still is. But see, Northern Ireland, it's a strange one because Northern Ireland are in transition at the minute. You can see it, especially these last couple of games. Like, there's older heads coming out of the team, McCauley, and not just him, but there's others. They're coming to sort of the end, the era. But Stephen Davis is still there, and he's still a class act. Like last night, he was fantastic, even though the team lost 2-0. I felt bad for him because he was passing the balls in, and the chances. One of the young Saville, he put a couple of amazing balls to that young fella's foot, and he just made hashes of them. But that's all to do with, I suppose, you know, he'll come good as well. These young players in Northern Ireland will come good. It's a level. See, I think over here you're sort of pushed into it, aren't you? You know, before you should be. I think the bigger countries, you'll play for your youth a lot longer and not really be forced into the first team. But I think actually Northern Ireland, I was looking, only have 70 players, as far as I'm aware, professionals in the whole world for Northern Ireland. So these young ones, when they make it professionally in the league, they're sort of shoehorned in pretty quickly. But Stephen Davis for me would be a cracking signing. I think the old heartstrings. I think he'll come back for a reduced wage, no doubt about it. He'll not come back for buttons, but definitely a reduced wage.
Can I just say that? Look, they talk about the wages. The other big part of it is Blue Shadow pointed out. If he's going to finish up, or if they're not offered him a new contract which they probably won't. They probably at a position like Rangers are with some of our players. We want the wages off he's got him going. Take the wages off free the wages up, should we say? And that's probably what they're thinking as well. Now, he's then got to be personal. He's got to do it all himself and go and find another club, or his agent has anyway. And he's going to end up, I would imagine, a championship side and probably reduced wages. So whatever that reduction is, he must be, I would imagine, smart enough, and his agent smart enough to think they could probably get that reduced wage up here at Rangers, and providing, as I say, he's fit, passes all the tests, and shows up as a really good player for us again, this could be the end. It's fairy tale end to his career. Fairy tale end. And I just wish him all the best. And I can just agree with Foxy that the second half of the question was about who would you release to make it happen. I wouldn't release anyone. From Rangers, I mean. Just bring them in.
Speaking of Northern Ireland, I'm hearing a wee rumour you're off to see the Rangers over there tomorrow night. That true, Ulster?
True, it is indeed, mate. I'll be away tomorrow night, travelling down to Larne. The famous Glasgow Rangers are over to play a friendly, so a lot of us boys are all going down to it. So it's a sellout already, which is pretty good. I don't know. I know we were talking earlier, obviously, about what type of player. And I know Stevie G has talked about maybe getting a game fitted in somewhere. Whether or not he uses this game against Larne, I don't know. You maybe see a couple of them, Foxy. Maybe even one, or even if you had one or two, it'd be nice for the support, would it not? Do you not think, mate?
Aye, I think so. You were telling me the price of the tickets, so I don't expect it to be a youth team that's travelling over there, mate.
£15 for a seat and $12.50 for the terrace.
So I think Stephen Gerrard did mention in one of his last press conferences that he would try and fit maybe a closed-door game or some other game if he could find it. So this may be the game that you'll see players like Grezda and maybe, I don't know if Barisic is back fit again. I think you might see those that haven't had a wee run in the first team for a couple of weeks. Maybe you'll see them tomorrow night, big man. And I hope you'll be giving us a report from the game the following night.
That's a game. Hey. Screw him down, Foxy. Get in there.
It's not quite the Champions League, but it'll do. As long as it's the Rangers, I'll watch it.
So the report, we want to get a Periscope going.
Hey, that's a good point, actually. That's a good point. Love it.
If you want any tips, speak to CC. He's the man that's on the Periscope, right?
The Periscope loyal, eh?
Right. Oh, he did a fantastic job with old RCC put on the old Periscope, one of the games that nobody was covering. It was watchable, Gaff. It was watchable. As I say, do they still run that that ferry across the blooming Larne?
Oh, they do.
It goes into Ayrshire somewhere, doesn't it?
Aye. Well, there's one, the old P&O ship. Normally, obviously, the Stena goes from Belfast. The P&O always with docked in Larne. But I think you're on about the old Troon boat.
Well, it was nicknamed the Vomit Comet.
Oh, it was... Jeez. I remember travelling that, and I mean, it was bad. People were broken. It was always on the way back. It was never the way over. On the way over, it was great. And the way back, it was just... Whoa! Everybody, people got out with a flat cap and they were flying out the back of it. Oh, it was some crack, though, at the time.
On the way back to the race, we used to get absolutely stuffed so you couldn't eat any more and then get on in the boat. Then they roll about in your stomach.
Oh, crazy. They were the days. So we'll move on to Scotty Scott. That's a name and a half, isn't it? Scotty Scott. Should we look at Moult on a loan to buy option in January? Sadiq is obviously not in the plans, and we really need that extra striker. We'll go to you first, Blue, because I know you've already made a comment there a couple of minutes ago about wanting a striker. Would that be the one for you?
No. I don't think Louis Moult, he works well for a certain level of team and scores you a certain sort of goal. but I don't think he would fit the style of football that Stevie Gerrard wants to play for me. So I wouldn't say it was somebody like him. I think if anybody's going to strike is going to come up on loan, I think Stevie will go back down for that Solanke because he's not getting a look in down at Liverpool, so he might come in January if Stevie Gerrard was to approach him again.
Oh, is he? See, I don't really bother with it. I haven't seen much of Liverpool, so he actually hasn't gotten the game at all in Solanke.
I don't think he's getting much. He's certainly not getting much of a look in. So I think he's got 2 or 3 people in front of him. So I think he has to look somewhere else and prove the point that he can score goals, and where better to do it than Rangers and perhaps in the Europa League. He's not going to get that. He's not going to get that exposure anywhere else.
Very true. Very true. What do you think, Bridgeman? Well, first of all, on the Moult comments, and then you can comment on Solanke if you wish.
Look, obviously, if Sadiqi's not going to be the answer to a striker that we may need, and he moves him on, then there's a few people on here who have said they would take Moult in a heartbeat. Some of the guys have been think he's quite good. I've been vociferous against him, but he's not, because I didn't want him to come from Motherwell for a start, but because he's down in England now, I wouldn't have too many objections other than I didn't like the guy anyway. I don't think he's a Rangers man, quality-wise. But if he transfers up to Rangers, obviously he'll have my backing for sure if he plays for the Rangers. For me, no, I wouldn't touch him. I don't think he's done anything down in England. He's been down there for 6 months or so, maybe more. Maybe was it a year now since he's been there? I don't know. Somebody might tell us.
It would be close to it. It would be.
So as far as I'm concerned, I don't know how many goals he's scored. I don't know what his record's like. I don't know how many games he's getting. But if he can't make it where he is down in England, then he's got no chance making it at Rangers. Because any club that plays against Rangers and they've got a guy like Moult, then they will feed Moult and make sure Moult doesn't need too much winding up. But he makes sure he's wound up enough to get in there and attack Rangers and do the business, which he did. Undoubtedly done it a number of times against us, but there's a difference winding yourself up to play against Rangers and then being at Rangers and winding yourself up to play against someone else. It's a big difference, huge difference. So I don't think he's got it, but I've been wrong before, and I hold my hands up, and if he comes to Rangers, then great. Not for me, but for me, no. Right. What was the next part?
So, well, obviously Blue have made a comment about Solanke, and just quickly before you move on to that, just before you move on to that, I've done a quick search on Louis Moult, and I don't know if he's been starting these games, probably not, but Press North End, it's saying games played, 19 goals, 3.
You know, these are stats, and some folk live and die with stats. Personally, I'm not a great big stats man, but when you look at them, that isn't the most impressive, is it? So that's 19 games, 3 goals. Well, you know, it's 1 in 6, is it? 1 in 6? I don't know if that's good enough for a striker.
Well, he had scored 80. Well, it seemed to have done it well. That's obviously what's got him has moved to Motherwell, because he had scored 17 goals and 43 appearances for Nuneaton. Moved to Wrexham, he got 16 goals and 39. Obviously, he got his move to Motherwell, played 84 games for Motherwell, and got 38 goals out of 84 games. And obviously, that's what's got him his move into pressing, but I don't know if it's worked out for him.
These stats that you're giving is ranging roughly, and it's only rough figures, 1 and 2 for Motherwell probably, right, scoring a goal every 2 games, and the other teams probably 1, 2.5 to 3. What is happening where he is now is 1 in 6 is massive. You know, it's just.
But then that's probably, you know, he's probably not a starter, but I honestly don't know him.
Of course, that's what I mean. Yes. I think that's what I'm meaning. You know, he's just not getting it. So I don't know whether he'd be any answer at all to Rangers. But I'll take my hat off to a lot of the guys still like him. There's a lot of guys on here still like him and think he'd be a good buy for Rangers. He'd be a good buy. So if our manager thinks he's going to get a good buy and he comes to Rangers, obviously he'll get my support. But there was something else you wanted to talk about.
Yes, Solanke. Blue's points on Solanke. He was thinking that could maybe
Solanke. Well, you know, Solanke obviously is not getting a game for the first team in Liverpool, and he's probably, as Blue Shadow said, he might be 4th or 5th, you know, or in a fight for a choice between 4 or 5 reserves, shall we say. to get in there to be a second choice, even on the bench. Now he's got a choice to make for his career, and Liverpool have got a choice to make for theirs. You mentioned, look, we've got two midfielders, Liverpool lads that Solanke's obviously played with, I would assume, in the somewhere in the youth setups. So I would imagine that they could form some sort of partnership quite easily. It might fit in nicely. Ex-Liverpool players or present Liverpool players. I just don't know. I don't know whether there's a wage to be paid by Rangers if we went for him, so it might be just cost prohibitive. But obviously the guy's got a name, and it would be wonderful if Mr. Gerrard could use his influence and do some magic and get that boy in, because Blue Shadow's been screaming for an additional centre forward, a striker since the season started. We don't seem to have one. Sadiq's been a disappointment to a lot of folk, including some of the Rangers management. So we definitely, I get Barrack because I want another centre half, and we've got a lot of centre halves according to Shadow. So I take my hat off to him. We need to get another striker in. Hopefully it's Solanke, because he's apparently got some class and qualities. It'd be wonderful if we got him. Wonderful.
Well, Foxy, yourself, mate, on the first of all the Moult, the question about Moult.
I don't think Louis Moult joining us is a possibility, mate, because he's no any better than Kyle Lafferty, certainly not in the same class as Alfredo, so I think that's a non-starter for me.
Fair enough.
On the Solanke, well, the trio was at the England-Scotland game tonight. Steven Gerrard, Mark Allen and Gary McAllister. Who they were there to watch, you can only guess. Solanke did play in the game, but so did Ross McCrory. So they might have been just running the rule and having a look. But if it was just a look, I don't think Mark Allen would have went to see that game, mate. So I would say that they're looking at somebody out, and Ross McCrory they know all about, so they're probably having a look at somebody. So we'll need to wait and see what happens. Although Solanke wouldn't be guaranteed a game with us either, mate. You'd need to shift Alfredo out the way first, and at the moment he's playing really well and doesn't deserve to have to step aside for a lone player coming in.
Well, it would just up the competition a bit more, wouldn't it, Fox? And that's certainly not going to do any harm, as well as give us the bit of cover that we need.
Solanke's going to go somewhere he's guaranteed to play, mate. And at the moment at Ibrox, I don't think he's guaranteed to play in front of Alfredo. That's only my opinion. I've been wrong before, as you know well, Blue.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that.
He wouldn't remind you of any time you were wrong.
Never really not.
But the thing is, the Liverpool have got to be impressed. It looks like we've got Ryan Kent playing, which Bristol failed to do, so they might be quite keen to send him up. So they might be a bit flexible on what deal they're prepared to cut. But I totally agree with you, Foxy. I don't think we could certainly cut Morelos at the minute, because he seems to be on form, and I'm a great fan of playing form players.
But that's a good point you make also, Kent and Ajaria, and obviously they'll know Solanke will know them. And I'm sure, they must be speaking highly of the club, because those two young fellas, especially that night at Ibrox v Rapid, they would never have experienced something like that. That is the atmosphere, and I'm sure they're absolutely loving it. I know Kent's already said he wouldn't rule out, a full-time move to Rangers. He's really, really enjoying himself, and I'm sure news like that filters through the likes of Solanke, so you never know. Maybe he could want to be a part of it rather than sitting on the bench, or maybe he's playing for, I don't know if he's playing for the reserves in some fixtures or what he's doing. That could maybe help us, maybe entice him to make that move or inquire about it himself. But as Foxy said, we don't know. The boys have been out tonight, or was it tonight, Fox, did you say, or was it last night?
Oh, they were out tonight, mate.
Tonight? That's just tonight.
About tea time tonight, wasn't it, Fox?
Yep.
Yeah, it was actually, I must admit, Ross McCrory was made captain tonight.
Yes, he was.
They lost 2-0. They're playing at Tynecastle and they lost 2-0 against England. So apparently there's 2 good goals as well.
The referee had a foul when Ross challenged somebody at the edge of the ball, about 25 yards out. Apparently, the commentator says that he took the ball, but he gave the foul, and the boys scalped in a lovely free kick, mate. Absolutely lovely. The boy for England. In fact, their second goal was an absolute cracker as well. So,
Yeah.
but they're world champions, aren't they, at that age group?
They're
England,
tops. They're
aren't
the
they?
tops.
Kirk,
They're the tops.
a bit of news about our youth. Our under 16s lost 3-2 tonight to Man City. So, and apparently they had a good performance as well. So, you know,
They won
They
3-2.
beat Man City.
Aye, they won 3-2, mate.
oh, they won 3-2. I heard they got beat 3-2. Well, for beating Man City 3-2, that's some kudos for Mulholland, isn't it, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, actually, that brings us into what we're going to do tomorrow. As far as I know, that we've got an interview with Mulholland, and we're going to talk a lot about the youth tomorrow.
Oh,
So we are,
excellent.
Blue. So we'll hold fire on that. But we'll talk about that result. We'll talk about how good the youth's doing at the minute. But that's definitely something we're going to come on to
Before we move-
tomorrow night. So hopefully,
I've taken the head.
Ulster,
taken the hint.
before we move away too far, there's news about one of the youths signing on till 2021. 18-year-old Rangers centre-back, Lewis Mayo. He signed a new contract that keeps him to the club till 2021. So well done, Lewis.
I'd forgotten
Young
about him.
18-year-old.
That would make Kate centre back to Bridge.
Aye. That's really good for getting these boys signed up. That's tremendous. Well done, Rangers.
so another question we've got in is from Alan Arthur. How long will Arfield be out? And who do you think could replace him? So, Bridgeman, I know you got a wee bit of info on that one.
Well, what I heard was that they withdrew him from the game and sent him for a scan. Apparently, he's got a small. He's feeling a hamstring. Let's say it's a light injury to his hamstring, a slight injury, should I say? So apparently, they've sent him for a scan. That's kept him out of this game, and depends on the results of the scan. Whether, in fact, when he comes back, he'll be fit. I would imagine it would be the question marks over his fitness against Hamilton. So the last thing we need is players playing with that type of injury and then having to cripple off and be out for a long time. So he'll be managed out on that. I don't think it's a very serious one at the moment. All I heard was he was withdrawn from the game and sent for a scan.
If that's the case, and maybe say the Rangers do as precaution, keep him maybe out for the likes of Sunday game because I know it's that pitch again, and that'll be heavy work probably for him if he is feeling the weak twins there, Bridge. Is there, as the question Alan has asked, do you see anybody slipping into that position? Because I know it's been sort of him for the Bally, hasn't it, really?
I think the way young McCrory's playing, he could possibly go. I think that Ryan Jack's ready to come back in, and I also think Dorans is ready to step up. So I'd go for Dorans personally, but I wouldn't say no to the other two either. But I think Dorans, to me, he's got a lot of qualities that would fit in with the Arfield role. And if he could come in and play in that role for sure. But nothing against the other two, seriously. Nothing against them.
What about yourself, Foxy?
I think if Scott Arfield's injured, I think it's a no-brainer for me that Ryan Jack would come into the side, mate. I like Ryan Jack. I think he's strong in the tackle, very aware of what's going on around about him, good passer of the ball, doesn't panic under pressure. I think he is due to come back into the Rangers first team, mate, anyway. In fact, I would go a wee bit from people might not agree with me, but I'd rather have Ryan Jack in front of Koulibaly as well. There we go.
Ooh, well, what about yourself, Blue? On that,
Very contentious. Fox.
Oh, he's feeling a bit better tonight. He's trying to get back at me, you see. He knows about Koulibaly. No, for me, I would have Ryan Jack back as well. He'd be my choice to certainly start the match. I think if we ain't getting forward, you might take Ryan Jack back off after 45, 60 minutes and put Dorans on. If we're needing a spit, or it depends what. If we're needing goals, then obviously earlier you put them on earlier and put Dorans on. It will give you that bit more creativity than perhaps Ryan Jack does. Ryan Jack's brilliant as well. He also covers, as I said a number of times, for Tavernier, so that allows Tavernier to commit forward more often when Ryan Jack's playing for me. So, yeah, and I'd also probably bring in Barisic for Flanagan. Flanagan's certainly done nothing wrong, but I think we want Barisic in there because I think even though we're away from home, I can see Hamilton sitting in quite deep.
See, it is going to be interesting, that one, I know, because we know what it's like with the pitches. We know the management staff has we're either worried of potential injuries, and then you've obviously got Dorrance, who's only coming back from the bad knee injury. He's only getting back on his feet. You're really trying to get his fitness, and do you throw him in there on that surface? Jack's just coming back, and then you have Ardfield as well, who's obviously he's been feeling the twins. So it'll be interesting to see which one they throw in there, or will it be young McCrory? Suppose that'll be it, but we'll talk about obviously that closer to the time. I'm sure we'll hear more news about Ardfield in the situation before all that anyway, hopefully in the next couple of days. I'm trying to see any more.
I think he's got to take the risk though, Ulster. I mean, the fact
we have to win the game, don't we?
We've got to get 3 points. At the end of, if one of the players gets injured, yeah, it's terrible and all the rest of it. Not what's required, but we've got to get the 3 points more than anything else.
That's fair. That's a very fair point, mate. I get that. I think we've seen, haven't we, even against the Livingstone match, that you can't really take these teams for granted. So you can't, if your best players are fit and available, you really should be playing them.
The fact is, if our players turn up, give 100%, then our quality will tell and we'll come away with a point.
What about that point, Foxy? Would you have a worry about maybe even the 3 players that are mentioned there coming back from injury in that surface, or are you the point of blue? Like, if they're fit, it's imperative that we get the 3 points, so they have to put them in anyway and play them.
You can get an injury at any time on any park, regardless, mate. If they're fit, get them into the team. 3 points are very important, as we mentioned last night. October's a big month for us, and with a bit of luck, we could do very, very well out of October. I would risk. If you get injured, you get injured. That happens in any game, So, strongest team out again on Sunday, get the win. That's what it means to us, Wins are so important.
Would you be on the same line of thinking, Bridge?
I think that the next game is absolutely positively the most important game of our season. Simple as that. We need to win. We need 3 points. And if we get the 3 points, it'll make a big difference to our situation in the league because there's some games going to be played on the Saturday that'll make a big difference as well because, there's the other 4 big teams play each other, and either if both those games end in draws, Rangers are gaining. If one goes one way or the other, Rangers are going to gain on one of the other teams. If both of those end in victory for one of them, so yeah, this week is absolutely important. And do you know something? If we don't win, if we lose on Saturday and Sunday rather, it'll be a disaster for us. It will be a disaster because every opportunity that's come our way to make ground on our, shall we say, our neighbours across the city may just fall apart. We need to win. I don't care if it's 1-0, it'll do me fine. We need 3 points, get the 3 points in the bag, and then we can march on until midweek to the big European game. That's what I want. Let's go out and do it, Rangers. We're building up for it. The manager knows, he sees all these things, and I've got every confidence that we won't have the same problem that we had against Livingston. I'm sure of it.
Okay, mate. We'll go to another question from Facebook, and it's regarding strikers again. I think this is the most talked about position, isn't it? At the minute, anyway. Alan Hall. Should we bring back Zach Rudden in January? Would he get enough game time? He'd benefit from training with Lafferty, but there's nothing better than minutes in first team football to improve. He's very highly rated and is said to be the most natural finisher for the club and country since McCoist. Either way, we need a third striker because Sadiq doesn't seem to be coming to the party. I'll go with that one with you, Blue, first.
For me, I would go. I would go for Solanke, but or somebody similar, and if we can bring in better and more experience, then yeah, I'd go for that. But I would not put out bringing back Rudden if we can't source anybody else that's better for me. I think when we decided to send the lad out on loan, that was perhaps a mistake. But he seems to be doing quite well where he is. But I think I can't remember which club was it. Falkirk we sent him to, but Falkirk aren't actually doing that well as a team. So I don't know how much good he's getting out of it. So I would go for somebody like Solanke or somebody else we could bring in. But if we can't get anybody else, bring Zach Rudden back.
Okay, Fox.
Aye, Zach Rudden's as highly rated at Ibrox, mate. I think sending him out on loan was the right thing. He had no chance of starting unless there was major injury worries at Ibrox. And we're all worried about this third striker. Both Kyle Lafferty and Morelos, mate, could go through the whole season without getting injured. And the more we talk about it, the more likely they ought to get injured, I think.
Or we jinx ourselves.
Alfredo's as strong as an ox, so it'll take a lot to put him out of the game. And Kyle's not a bad substitute if it comes to that. I think that the signing in January, if we're going for a striker, will depend on how we do in Europe, by the way. If we can manage to qualify out of that, we might be able to entice a higher rated player to Ibrox, maybe possibly on loan, probably like Solanke. But at the moment, I don't think Steven Gerrard's in a rush to sign a striker. I really don't.
That's right. Fox, go ahead, finish up. I'll finish up, mate.
No, I was just saying, I've read this on the forums. We badly need a striker. We only badly need a striker if the front two we've got get injured. And at the moment, that's not happened. And let's hope it doesn't.
Oh, definitely. Well, of course, we don't want nobody to get injured. I just having a wee look there, Lou, just when you were saying there about Zach Rudden and Falkirk. It's all about stats again, I suppose, but it's saying here that he's appearances 3 and goals 3. So, I know some people want him back, but it could maybe benefit him staying at Falkirk and getting game time. Bridge, what about yourself, mate, on the Zach Rudden?
Well, I think if you've got to go back to what Foxy was saying there. There's a lot of ifs regarding Rangers and strikers. I think the very first one is the truth, because the present tells us if we are fortunate enough to win on Thursday, just for saying sake, then the pressure builds, because are we going to go and get out of this group, and so on and so forth. And we have to take the management and the board and everything has to take cognizance of it. That will be a massive, massive thing for our club if Rangers manage to get out of this group and go into the next set. And if we do, then they have to look forward. And when we do, let's put it this way, when we do, the whole world is going to sit up and take a note, because here we are, Glasgow Rangers, 6 years ago, down in the dumps, sent down, blah, 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 and here they are into the sort of the last 16 or whatever it is of the Europa League. Unbelievable stuff, guys, unbelievable. And the world will take notice. Our manager will be in the shop window for sure. Our top striker, Mr. Morelos, will probably be in it. So all of that has to be taken into account. And we're leading up to the end of the season. And in the last game of the year, end of the year, the last game of the year is against our sworn enemies across the city, and we're playing them at Ibrox. And if we go out and put a show on, beat them at Ibrox, oh my God, see what happens in the transfer window. So all these things have to be taken into consideration by our management and board. Things are happening, things happening good for Rangers. I don't know whether we should right at this moment think, are we going to bring Zach Rudden back? What happens if someone comes in and makes a huge bid for Alfredo Morelos and he goes? Then, are we going to take a young lad like Zach Rudden? Is he going to be our striker? All of these things have to be taken into consideration. But if none of that happens, then I would say, yes, maybe we should cut short and cut it out and ask for Zach Rudden to go back to Rangers and get back into the first team training.
Can I ask
ramble
you
there,
that?
sorry.
Can I ask you a wee off the wall question here? We all want the league title this year, but what would be the bigger achievement? Winning the league title or getting into the group stages of the Europa League, mate?
You getting out of the group stages, you mean?
No, aye, well, getting out.
We're in the
yeah,
group
that's what I
stages
mean.
now.
Well, going forward.
Getting through. Yeah.
Aye, to the knockout stages. What's the biggest achievement, you think?
Well, if it's me, if you're asking me as a footballer and so on, when I played football, the biggest tournament would be the league championship. And if you're in anywhere near, shall we say, form and the psyche is right, then that's what you want to win. But then again, you've got to add in, every tournament's a big tournament. If you're playing well, the confidence is all up, the momentum's there. We must go for everything. We must go for everything. I don't know whether you can make the choice halfway through a season. Will we give up the last 2-3 games of this Europa League tournament just to make sure we can win the league? How do you do that? You need to find a vehicle of doing that. You can't switch off. You've got to build the team up. The after events say, oh my God, I'd rather we get knocked out at the group stages because it might have had an impact on the league. I don't know if we could do that, seriously. So for me, I want the tournament we're in now, I want to win every single game, league and Europa League. Cup games coming up, I want to win everything. But I want to do it under a careful management system, right? And I want our manager to watch us, make sure our players are good, and make sure we're really, really keen. Because we have to be the psyche for it. We, as a support, make your choice. For me, get us number one target, get out of the Europa League, into the last 16 or whatever, maybe 32, get into the knockout stages. That'd be for me most important.
Well, the reason I'm asking you, mate, what would you have believed at the start of the season? I think we all thought, as a support, we'd be there challenging for a league title, but I don't think many of us would have said that we would get out of the group stages and into the knockout rounds of the Europa League. That's how I was asking, what is actually the biggest achievement of the two of them? I'm not saying, but the question isn't, we all want 55, every single one of us want that, but more as an achievement, considering that we've no lost a game away, have we?
No,
in Europe.
We're undefeated home and away.
And if MD had said that to me in June, I'd have laughed at them, mate. But here we are, we're sitting in that position.
So you ask yourself, how do you feel? How do you feel? We're 2 games away, 2 European games away. Win the next 2 European games, and we're to all intents and purposes through.
Aye, I know. Well, I'm just saying that the bigger achievement would probably be the run in the Europa, mate. Because, as I say, we were all no overconfident, but we were confident we'd be in the title race. None of us was confident we'd be in the Europa race.
Correct, but we are now.
Well, I think if we're being honest with ourselves, if you listen to past shows, Fox, I think we had a discussion. This is before we even kicked off Europe, but we're just about to kick it off, and I think most of our ambitions was the third round. We're in the first round. We're like, if we get to the third, or if we get to the fourth, because when you get to the fourth, you're meeting some big fishes, and that would be tough for us. So I agree with your sentiment there. Like, I don't think any of us believed that we would have been undefeated in 10 games in Europe. It's been amazing. On paper, for me, I think probably getting through the group stages on paper is probably a bigger achievement. But if it was asked me what I want, I would be taking, if someone says you won't get through the groups but you'll win the league title, I'll take it. Like.
Yeah, Ulster, that's what I'm trying to say. Somebody gives you a choice right now, you would say, oh yeah, please, I'm a Rangers fan, I want to win this league. So we'll win the league. But how do you get to that point of ignoring everything that's going on? Because you just can't. Because what's happening to us now is just unbelievable. As Foxy said, right at the start of the season, you never had dreamt of being in the knockout stages. Here we are, in even the group stages. But here we are, we're in the knockout stages, or potentially. We're only a couple of games away. If everything goes all right and we get through there, it'll be miraculous for us. Miraculous and massive.
What about yourself, Blue, mate? You see, well, Foxy's question?
Well, that's the one thing that's so wonderful about Rangers. If everybody has their opinion and is entitled to their opinions, even if they are wrong. But
Boo, boo.
I was waiting for the pun.
But no, seriously though, for me, I think for me the target at the beginning of the year was to qualify for the group stages. I wouldn't have been too disappointed if we'd got knocked out at perhaps the second or let's say the third round. I wouldn't have been too disappointed if we got knocked out at the third round or something like that. That's how I was thinking at the beginning of the year. I certainly wanted a big improvement on what we did last year. To actually get where we've got so far, that's a fantastic achievement. But for me, I'd be putting out my strongest team in the league, because that is the one that we've got to win to move forward to the next level, to increase revenue streams and all the rest of it for me. For me, 3 points at Hamilton is more important than 3 points in the Europa League. That's just my personal opinion. I know there's plenty of other people out there who have got totally different opinions to that.
Fair enough, mate. Well, I think that sort of brings us to the end of tonight's show. Bridge, if you want to give us a wee send-off.
Yes, I will do, pal. I'd just like to say it's been a great night tonight. Marvellous questions in, so well done to everybody. Good comments as well, good topics. But can I just say this? To all the Rangers fans all over the world, and particularly Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, every single one of us, keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers really need us. Keep it going.
Thanks for that, Bridge. As I say, I'll not be with us or with you tomorrow night. Obviously, I'm way down to watch the Rangers play Larne, but I'll maybe see. We'll see what happens. Maybe give a wee phone call or something at half time. Keep you updated how things are going. Want to thank Blue for joining us tonight, Fox, and our Bridge man. I've been your host tonight, Ulster Burr. We'll be back tomorrow between 9 and 11. Thank you very much for listening.
Every other saint of Dismal day off, and it's off to the match I go. Happily we wander down the Paisley Road, me and my wee pal George. We're off to see the lasses with their blue scarves